Hello everyone, this is Dan Riley for Sports Talk on Passionate World Internet Radio. With football season kicking off, I need to tell you a story. It's a story of the foundation of football in the U.S. and how, in spite of the concussion crisis, football is actually in a very good spot, an excellent spot, compared to what it was back when the game was first founded. Heck, the concussion crisis, amazingly, is an improvement. The formation of football in America is indeed quite the story. In this episode, I'll explain it to you. It involves a U.S. president, a divided country, violence, and college students suffering serious injury. I'll get right down to it. In England, games similar to football involving kicking a ball were played that would actually involve entire towns. I've looked this up. You can go and do research on this. Entire towns would kick a ball back and forth, and it probably involved a lot of property damage. Eventually, laws were passed prohibiting these things. By colonial times in the United States, games like this had spread to the U.S. Our Ivy League colleges eventually played games that resembled soccer or carrying a ball. And eventually it would involve these very, very rough college students pushing, shoving, tackling each other. And without helmets or headgear, and really no limit on the amount of players teams could have, things really got out of control. I mean, really got out of control. People were actually getting killed. I'm not kidding you. It was a weekly occurrence. Schools eventually, understandably, wanted nothing to do with them. Yep, we're talking about deaths. Not just concussions or broken bones. I'm talking players winding up in the morgue. In 1906, the president, a guy named Theodore Roosevelt, the guy running the country, threatened to criminalize football if things didn't change. That's where a guy named Walter Camp comes in. He had played and proposed what is the down and distance system today. He added blocking into the sport, all these things we take for granted. In 1906, it was finally legal to pass the ball. The game was a little more civilized, and soon players wised up and started wearing head protection. I'm not naive enough to think football is 100% safe with the whole concussion thing, but nowadays it's actually a big deal, considering people were actually horrified when a player for the Bills almost died on the field. That was considered unthinkable. The reason I think there's actually a sense of sanity that can continue to be brought into the game is the fact that guys are actually told to leave the field when they have a head injury. We don't have guys constantly getting killed. People are a little smarter than they were in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. It's why football might actually have a future. We've reined in the insanity. This is Dan Riley for Sports Talk. Thank you for tuning in, and so long.